Ladies and gentlemen, I had it all on one tape, but they reduced it from 15 minutes to 8 minutes. So I continue. Uh, you better believe I have overcome some of the most vicious crimes against us and obstacles. Let's stick to the true facts. What's valid, and that is what mass property of mass is gravity. No matter what anybody says, it's not some. He says that space is a void. A void. That means nothing in there. Let's say that's on page 20. On page 21, he then says that space is warped. What's he warping if it's a void? What's there? So it's a void if he wants it to be a void, and it has something if he wants it to have something, and it's twisted or voided, or whatever way in order for him to put forward what he's saying. And I found him to be so contradictory, it got to be really, we're like a professor I knew kind of looked at his opinions, Yet he's considered to be the authority on matter. The authority on matter. And when I asked him, how did matter get here? He said, it's just here. Now you think about that. Here's a fellow that says in order for you to get the best answer, you have to think irrationally. And I know that the best way to get a rational answer is to think rationally. Rational man with 2 feet on the ground thinks rationally to get the best rational answer that it will sustain in generations and in the future. What I have to do is try to fast forward because I try to get it done in one tape, and then like now it's 8 minutes. So eventually I'll get to where I'll have prepared notes, and we'll get to maybe into the more mathematics and into the actual essence of the proofs by advanced concepts in theoretical mathematical physics. Right now, I need backing by people. I've tried everything. The only thing left is the court of last resort. It's public opinion. And you have to speak in plain language. And I say I can explain to anyone. The void is a void. Mass is mass. And a property of mass is attraction, gravity. Gravity is a force. Inertia, he takes and says he combines space and time. Now, I say it's my science, not my age, because I used to practice doing something in powerful advanced concepts and its structure, a subatomic structure, and maybe what it really is and what you can do with it, especially as a force. I used to practice reading it and closing a book and forgetting this Area 51 they call now and so forth, certain ideas. So on the previous 8 minutes, if I didn't mention that distance, that space is distance. Space is distance. If you have point A, B, space is the distance between A and B. Straight line, curved line, it's a line. 2 points, one dimensional, a line. 3 points, it's 2D, two-dimensional. You have a plane. With 4 points, with one the vertex, you take the coordinates x and y and z, they're at 90 degrees to each other. So the 4 points, O the origin, and x, y, z, the other 3 points, and you have volume. If you rotate those 3 as radii, equal radii, you'll get a volume, and if that mass then, if it's solid, its mass, that mass then is as large as the Earth, and I think I've mentioned that. I'm getting to where then I said that mass then has gravity. You don't say that space is time and time is space. Time is an interval. I worked on the rubidium frequency standard, and the scintillator counters. You have these hyperfine lines. I think there's over 9 billion. You count on it as per second, if I recall. Now, so no matter what the duration is, whatever increment that duration is, that is what you say is time. It's not distance. Distance is what you have in space. Space is distance. So I don't agree with the space-time. Well, they're one. Who says they're one? Einstein. Who's Einstein? This irrational thinking plagiarist that agreed with me that you modernized, theoretically at least broken the light barrier. He took his name off it was called the Einstein even, or Lorentz-Einstein transformation equation, took his name off of that. And come to find out, he stole the Petros, D equals MC squared. The reason he's getting away with it, the Petro was shot when he was young, and he wasn't around to say, hey, that's my work. So where I'm at now is I'm going to get Poincare's original work that he did when and how. And then see what the representer Einstein in his 1905 papers said. For sure, you don't take this space that's a void and all of a sudden it bends this way and that way, and that's gravity because it falls where this warp is in the space. Say what? Do you have to understand that I went all the way to Ireland? I used my own time and my own money at the risk of my life. I went all the way to Ireland because there was a man there that was in Germany with Einstein when he put forward his unified field theory. And what did this man say? You know it's the media. Einstein this, Einstein that. He says it's absurd. But as far as that, yes, he did try a unified field theory in 1927, but it was flawed. And we, not only his colleagues, but best friends tried to get him to retract it, but he was so stubborn he wouldn't retract until after a year. It took us a year before he retracted. Until we told him, if you don't retract it, you're going to lose your credentials as far as your paper of 1915 and 1905 of relativity. Then he retracted. And what is the key to the representation of the 1905? The key is Michael Basso was the only reference he used. Now, in general relativity, the reason I don't talk about general relativity is because it takes a little bit of time. But I concise it. The reason I talk about it is not because I don't want to express my opinion. It's because at times it's so absurd that if I'm going to get to it, I'm going to talk like maybe now like in blunt language. Who in the heck is Einstein to change the fact that gravity is now inertia? He said that gravity is a singular event within his inertia. He decides that it's his inertia now in the world, and that gravity. You see, in my opinion, this is a gravitational universe. The universe functions, and the forces out there is gravitational. He says that gravity is a singular of his inertia. I may go into that when I have time for getting to specifics. But for sure, rational man with 2 feet on the ground puts forward the best rational answer in order to obtain what is really valid and true without changing definitions and changing, etc. And that's my opinion, and I'll stand by it. I risk saying, hey, if you make a mistake here or there, how could you have done Xerox? You better believe I did Xerox, XEROX, for Rochester, New York, etc., etc. And then from there into advanced concepts of mathematical physics, and I have done work at least by 1960 into this 21st century. By 1960. By 1975, you maybe guess what future concepts I put forward. I thank you, and if you can, support me because I must get my constitutional guarantees. Thank you.